What's up guys, it's Nick here from What's Good, and you might be used to coming to this channel to watch quicker reviews with fast edits and some movie clips and gags and things in between. And while those won't be stopping anytime soon, I wanted something a bit more casual and free form and long form where I can talk about a topic that I'm interested in, or maybe there's some game new or old that I've been playing that I just want to get some thoughts off about. And so with that, I bring you the first episode of Nick's Notebook.
The Notebook.
I hope you enjoyed it, and if you do, please remember to hit the like button to let me know, and also subscribe if you want to catch more. I'm going to be kicking things off with Forza Motorsport. It's been out for about 6 months now. I'm a huge racing fan, and I'm a huge car game guy. I've been playing car games since I was a little kid back in the day, on DOS machines all the way up till now. I play pretty much most of them. Big fan of Gran Turismo, the F1 games, Forza, some of the... I've fallen off Need for Speed a bit, but I'll pretty much play anything that puts you on four wheels, and that's good. So with Forza, I wanted to have a chat about this because I've actually been playing it quite a lot recently again, just diving in and dipping in because they've been updating it and changing some things. So I've just jotted down a few notes and I'm going to sort of go through them and think them through. So my feelings at launch with Forza was that I liked quite a bit of it. In my review that I did on this channel, I said that, they did many things that were just, that I felt like they were just for me. Like they did these great things that I've always wanted. The handling felt really good. The graphics were decent, but there was something funky about them. Like the resolution wasn't really hitting what I thought it should be hitting, and that has since been adjusted. The build a car stuff, the career where you had to sort of modify your car as you go, I was quite excited for this idea because it reminded me of the old days of Gran Turismo on PlayStation, where, the original ones of Gran Turismo 1 and 2, like I love those little cups where every race you would sort of maybe put on an exhaust or you'd put on some tires and it would make that difference. And I was hoping that it would do that because you did form a bond with your car. But unfortunately, the more that I played the career mode, the more you realize that it's just like this sort of process you have to get through. You need to level up your car by driving it in order to get these CP points that you can use to, allocate to your car for upgrades. And a lot of the times you just sort of doing auto upgrades, and not doing auto upgrades didn't seem to matter as much. Like I remember in Gran Turismo, what I loved is that I would choose, like I could do my first upgrade and I'd go and put a turbo on my Skyline or something, and then in the first race I'd just be like blasting down the straight and just smashing into every wall. And it took me a while to realize, what, I need to be smart and maybe like put on an exhaust and some better tires or some brakes, and that gave me a little bit of an edge. But in this, things are a bit wonky. You just sort of upgrade in chunks and then carry on. So by the end, I did find that I did sort of have a little relationship with each car, especially once I found a nice livery and put it on. But it's just not the same. There's no, I don't look at them in any way now. It feels like, with Affinity, it feels like I just put it, sort of play through that career mode, upgrade that car, and then just sort of chuck it away. Like I don't think about it again. And yeah, so that's the way it was, where the career was sort of starting. And what made it way worse, if you'll remember, is that it launched with tons of bugs. Like it would crash, or even worse, you would do upgrades, or you would do a career race, and then you would do an upgrade for your next race, and it would crash. And when it crashed, you would lose the previous career race that you did. So you not only were having problems with crashing, but you actually had to redo races and things like that. And I know a lot of people who, after not too long, if they weren't trying out the multiplayer, they basically jumped off career mode early because there was almost no point to do it. You were just running into trouble like over and over again. So yeah, so that's some of the problems it had. We did dabble in the multiplayer. Me and a couple of friends would jump into the online featured races and so on, and the multiplayer was pretty good. It had a few problems as well, like, technical problems in terms of things like the replays not working and a few other things. But some of the major issues that people had was that the automatic like penalty system and things is quite screwy, where you know, someone would land up bumping you and you would get a penalty for it, or it was a little bit inconsistent and so on. And another problem, of course, yes, there was the problem with basically just proximity to other cars. Like, there's a proximity arrow feature or function that was in the previous Forza that is in this game, but it's not on by default. You had to go and switch it on, and all it really does is it has some little orange arrows on the screen that show you where people around you are. And if you're looking, if you watch any of the footage of mine that I've captured over time that I'm putting up while I talk, you might see those little orange arrows. But those, number one, those really should have been there all along. And number two is that this game just desperately needs a proximity radar like Gran Turismo has, so that when you're driving, you can see around you where the other cars are. As a result, I mean, I was actually quite surprised when I jumped onto the subreddit for Forza, and basically everyone is driving in third-person mode because, you know, in the outside camera, just because they needed it to help them understand where they were in relation to other cars. There isn't enough to help you understand what's around you. I think in Gran Turismo as well, you get that thing where if a car gets really close to you, the side of your screen sort of darkens a little bit to let you know that someone's right there. Really needed something like that, because too much of the multiplayer can be really fun. And I really love the fact that there's tire strategies and pit stops and things, but ultimately there is a problem, because it doesn't matter if the handling is good and if the cars feel good and the pit stop strategies are cool and the tracks are cool and the graphics are cool, if some complete bozo's crashing you off on the second corner every single race. So that doesn't help. Or alternatively, you don't know someone's there, you're the bozo, and then you land up getting a massive penalty anyway, which affects your overall long-term profile and all that sort of stuff. So it's a bit of it was a bit of a crap show. So going on to where Forza is on now, I'll talk, you know, there's a few career issues I wanted to, another career issue I wanted to speak about before moving on, but I'll actually talk about that when I'm talking about the new stuff. So since it initially came out, they've made a couple of updates, and some of the changes have been pretty significant. They've done a lot of bug fixes, like things like designs not loading on the cars really quick have mostly been fixed. There's still a few problems. They've gotten the performance better. One thing, like I mentioned earlier, that there was this issue, there's this issue where the resolution was not good. And I found, well, first of all, the ray tracing setting for the graphics, I thought that would be the better one to go to, but the truth of the matter is the dynamic resolution takes such a knock for the ray tracing, which you don't really get to appreciate all that much. And as a result, especially if you're running on a I'm lucky enough to have a really nice big 4K TV, and on that, graphics quality matters, because if something's a bit blurry or res down, you're gonna notice it quite easily. And I found that the ray tracing mode just had to drop the dynamic res all the time, so everything constantly looked a bit muddy, and ultimately realized if you go with what they do actually recommend, which is the mode that sticks more to 4K 60, that's actually the best looking mode. And when the game first came out, there was definitely a problem where it wasn't optimized, so the dynamic res was sitting quite low all the time, and it just felt muddy, and it wasn't nice. And over time they fixed that up, and the graphics quality took a big jump. It was quite noticeable after the one update. Playing it now, I must say, especially in I think it's just the performance mode, or is it just the quality mode? I can't remember, the one that's 4K 60. That's the one that is really good now. It looks crisp, it looks great. The game overall looks great. And okay, so with that, some of the new things that they've done, they've added some new tracks. So we've got Hockenheim, we've got Nürburgring, Brands Hatch. I don't know, I think, oh yes, Yas Marina came late as well, I almost forgot. The new tracks look great, I must say. I mean, that's one thing that's really nice. Brands Hatch can die in a fire just because of that turn 1. I don't love it at all. But Hockenheim, I really love that track. Nürburgring, they added, it's not just the Nürburgring, but it's the Nordschleife, the full massive country circuit, and it's absolutely beautiful. It's so, geez, it's so bumpy. When I drove on it recently, I actually almost had a bit of motion sickness by the end because you're just bouncing up and down the whole time, but they really nailed it, and it looks so good, especially depending on time of day. So yeah, that's really nice. The new tracks are nice, and I am happy they are free. Of course, they need to find ways to keep people around so that they can keep selling them other stuff like cars and such. The other thing is that you can now get CP with money. So now there's no longer the problem where if you've got a car and you want to level it up for a multiplayer series or your career, that you need to now go back and play career modes or do other things with it so that you can unlock levels that you can actually level it up, upgrade it. You can now just spend money, which, ultimately you still need to spend money. So if you're not playing career mode or getting money from wherever you're playing, you're gonna run into trouble. Luckily, I've had plenty of money, but also the review code that I got came with the sort of full package. I can't remember if it's called Deluxe or Ultimate or something, but it also gets like double bonus money on everything, which is just ridiculous. I realized that when I was finishing races, my money was basically being doubled just because I bought, or didn't buy, but I have that edition, which is a bit kind of scummy for people who are just playing the normal version. It makes it a little bit pay to winny, doesn't it? So yeah, at least they've got that. Now, when it comes to career mode, one or two things that I mentioned before that I want to bring up is that they've fixed the balancing on the AI sort of spread, if I can put it that way, where one thing I called it the Max Verstappen problem, because what would happen is in every race, no matter what you did, there seemed to always be the car in first place was always miles ahead of everyone. So you could have a good lap, you could start at the back if you want on an easier difficulty, or maybe you're just really quick on that track and you can make your way to the front, or, whatever. There was always like this huge gap between the car in front and the car in second place. They seem to have fixed that now, where I found recently that when I'm racing, there's a nice grouping of sort of first, second, third, and fourth, all closer together now. No more Max Verstappen up front. That said, the balance is still super off when it comes to multiplayer, career mode, sorry, not multiplayer. The problem is that this game just doesn't know what it's doing sometimes. I think it's using some sort of automatic system to calculate your speed and the difficulty. So, for example, when you go into a career race, you have the chance to practice and then do the race. Now, when you practice, based on your difficulty, it gives you a time that you can get a bonus on if you can hit that time. Now, I also use that time for myself, but the game also uses that time to sort of gauge where you're gonna be, so that when you pick your starting position, there's going to be a sort of an estimation of where you're gonna finish. And this thing is just all out of whack. So I will go into the other day I was racing, I went into practice mode in the car that I had. The time that it gave me to beat was like impossible. I was doing everything I can to try and shave off time, and I'm someone that can go to pretty extreme lengths to get a very fast lap around a track. Like I will dedicate myself to get that time down. But I mean, I was like going as fast as I could and doing everything I could, and I was like 2 seconds off the time or something like that. Like I just couldn't even come close. But then when I finished the practice and I couldn't come close to that time, I got into the race and I was just miles ahead of everyone. The race started, I shot off and I beat everyone by like a mile. And so something was wrong. Like it's not figuring things out. It doesn't help that it tells you you're 2 seconds off the time it thinks you should beat, and then when you have to pick a starting position, it tells you that even if you start in 24th place, you're gonna probably finish on the podium. And I mean, mind you, this is a bit of a problem. There's many people out there like me who play these games a lot that are quite good at these games, and they want to challenge. And we're not in multiplayer, of course, but I'm playing in some of these recent races. I've been playing with the difficulty on max. I've been playing with almost all the assists off. I think I use ABS, and the only other thing that I keep on is I keep the rules on about sport so that I can use the rewind function if I need to. I'm in a household with other people. I can't always, I will have things that'll distract me or something like that, so I'm not crazy enough to just go in the no replay mode. But I mean, other than that, if it's just down to your raw speed, and with, you know, very little assists. I'm playing some of these ones now. I'll jump into the race right after that one where I couldn't hit anything, and then I won't be able to catch the guy in first place to save my life, or, you know, I have to, then I'll get into another series where I'm too quick, and I've actually been purposefully downgrading my car to try and make it match the opponents, and that's just unfortunate and silly and disappointing, because I just want a career mode that can give me a nice challenge, something that's consistent. I mean, if I'm going to land up not being quick enough and only coming 10th every race, that's fine, but let me come 10th every race. Don't have me fighting at the back and then fighting at the front, and have the practice laps being way different to the racing laps and so on. Really what I want, and that's what I've noted on my notepad, is that I want them to fix the career mode with a bit more crafted content. Like, take out the builder stuff as well. Like, let me do a career mode where I'm in some stock BMWs, or there's a stock BMW versus stock Audis, and, you know, you have something where they've taken the time to go and craft something where they say, you know what, this will be a good balance. Like maybe the Mitsubishi Evo versus the Subaru Impreza, you know, some famous old races like that, where you can, you know, pick between them and go for it, rather than this thing where it's all about the upgrades and everything. I'm someone who's also, I'm a bit of a purist. Like, I enjoy the cars as they're designed. I don't always like modifying them, so I might want to do a whole series where I'm just in a stock BMW M5 and having a good race, or going in a, you know, nice old Porsche 911 or something like that. I realize from how I'm talking, you wouldn't know that I'm like a die-hard Ferrari fan, so I guess I should point that out. But that's exactly my point. The thing is that I just want to, that's maybe where my love for those sort of pure cars comes from. I love them out the factory. I love how they've been made, and I want to do some more races like that. I want to appreciate them for what they are as well. So I would love to see them do something like that, non-builder career series, where you can really go and have a good few races and fix the damn balance, so that I'm not, you know, it's not all over the place. Just get that stuff right. So yeah, when it comes to multiplayer, I've been jumping into that a little bit as well to see how that's been going. They fixed the replay finally, so you can actually watch back some of your replays when you play. But overall, I mean, the multiplayer is still quite good. I think there's still some stuff they need to fix, and I mean, it's very clear that this is just not on the same level right now as Gran Turismo even, but I mean, and a mile off from things like Assetto Corsa Competizione and things, you know, and I'm not even going to get into iRacing and all that, but these are, you know, there's just some fundamentals that they need to sort out. The tires, for example, as I mentioned earlier, it's fun that there's a tire and there's a strategy going, you know, system in play, but the tires also fall off way too hard sometimes. Like, they need to also maybe readjust the tires a little bit to keep things interesting. And also the many of the featured race series that they've got alternate between when they've got tire, you know, require tire strategies or not. So if you like, I really like playing in the GT series because I love GT3 racing, and you know, I think it alternates between when it and the touring cars and stuff as well have tire strategies when you race them. So sometimes you just can't get it for like a whole while, and that sort of sucks. I like that element, it's fun. I am, as a true Ferrari fan, absolutely terrible at managing my strategy, so I will start a race, I'll do really well, I'll manage to avoid all the accidents at the beginning, get myself out into the top 3, have a really great race, and then realized in the last 2 laps that I underfueled my car or messed up my tire strategy somehow that I didn't realize, and then I'd completely toss the race and come like last. So I'm keeping in line with my tifosi there, treating my fans like dirt by disappointing them over and over again. But yeah, I mean, that stuff is fun though. It's dynamic and it's cool, so I enjoy that. So yeah, I just it's clear that they need to tweak that a bit and get it better. So yeah, so I mean, ultimately I quite like where Forza is right now for me. If I want to just jump in and have a few races or do a bit of a career when I'm looking for something like that and a bit of a distraction, but I really, I can't lie, like I miss having a nice career mode to dig into that you can get invested in. Gran Turismo on PS5, I played it only on PS4, But either way, the latest Gran Turismo's got a great, you know, a much nicer career mode that you can get invested into, and you're sort of moving around the maps and things like that, and you're not just sort of going from one thing to a next and just there's nothing for it. I mean, the only thing it's really doing is those graphic intros where they tell you a little bit about the cars, but nothing quite on where it used to be and where Gran Turismo is. So I'd love to see them revive this a little bit with a bit of a, you know, breathe some fresh air into the career mode, and then just get this multiplayer sorted, like get it proper good. I'm sad to say that I was wrong when I made a prediction a couple of years ago. During lockdown and during COVID, I was telling people that it's so telling that when lockdown happened, esports suddenly had this massive surge. There was online Formula 1 races that were being broadcast with the drivers and guests. There were Gran Turismo series and everything, but Forza was nowhere. It was nowhere to be found. The GT guys were racing in Assetto Corsa, and you know, there was, when I say GT, I mean the GT series, like GT3 drivers and stuff. So there was Gran Turismo and F1 and all that, and Forza was just nowhere to be found. And I made this prediction that the next Forza is going to heavily focus on sort of like sim racing, because they've got Forza Horizon now. They don't need to be too casual. They've got their casual game now, and Forza Horizon's great. I mean, it's a fantastic game. So why not make yourself a part of the conversation? Really get in there on the esports side of things. And they didn't really, and they've let people down, I think, and they've let their fans down. And yeah, and people are just going to generally, you know, gravitate towards what they like and what they enjoy. And I think a lot of people gave it the benefit of the doubt when it came out, and then it lost their interest and they moved on. So if they're going to do something, they need to do something pretty legit to make it worthwhile returning to, especially because a relaunch isn't the easiest thing to do. Yeah, so that's the end of my notes. So thanks for listening. If you're still here and listening, thank you very much. I appreciate you for listening in with me and just hanging around. I hope that if I do more of these in future, it'll be something you can sit and watch when you're lazy, or just put on in the background while you're doing other things or working or washing the dishes, who knows. But for now, I just want to thank you for joining me on this chat about Forza Motorsport on my first Next Notebook, and I hope to do some more soon. And yeah, we'll see what the response is like. As always, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did enjoy it, please hit the like button to let me know, and subscribe to the channel for more videos. Of course, the usual reviews and the quicker fun stuff is going to be up as well, but I'm going to be doing some of these in between. Thanks again for watching. I'll see you soon.